What's up, Nate? How you feeling, man? I was actually just thinking about you earlier. I saw a post you made about some pantry out. So I need to hit my little brother up, see what he got going on, how he doing. I appreciate you hopping on. Let me know if you can't hear me well. I think it should be fine, but you know, sometimes these things can be how they are. I should go ahead and just get my AirPods now. Can y'all hear me well? Just to give y'all a heads up. Okay, good. What's up, Martina? Just to give y'all a heads up, I think Dr. Smith, she's gonna be a little late, but she coming. I appreciate y'all hopping on. To be honest, it's been like a vision in my head for a while, and it's good to be able to finally see it come to pass. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if y'all like me, but you know, a lot of times you have like ideas in your mind about how stuff should be, like stuff you want to do, and it's really a blessing, you know what I'm saying, to be able to see the vision come to pass. I prayed about it for a while. I'm gonna tell y'all, like, the concept of a podcast has been on my mind at least since 2016. Yeah, at least since 2016. And so I don't know. I feel like I have a lot to say, and people who really know me know that, like, I do have the gift of gab. You know what I'm saying? I can talk. Hey, auntie. But being on a podcast or something like this by myself is kind of like, it's kind of unnerving. You know what I'm saying? Because, like, at this point right now, just me, it's just, I'm the center of attention. And it can be kind of unnerving, you know what I'm saying? So I'm having to really get used to just being on camera and talking to people like that. And then, like, if it's just me, then what do I talk about? Like, how do you have a conversation with yourself? You know what I mean? Now, I think that there are definitely times when I've had conversations with myself. I'm sure y'all have too. You know, don't fake the funk and act like, oh, this nigga crazy. That's not the case, right? But sometimes you gotta sometimes you got to encourage yourself. You got to speak over yourself. You know what I'm saying? You got to get yourself together. So I'm having to learn now just how to do that. B, you said you gotta show me. I can show you. I'm not sure I follow. What's up, Jasmine? How you doing? It's been a while. I hope that you and your family are doing well. I saw that y'all moved. I pray everything is well with y'all. That God He's with you regardless. You know what I'm saying? So, you right, auntie. You right. Maybe it's just it's just nerves, I guess, that come up and make you feel like you I don't know, like, it's difficult. So I had prayed for a while. I'm like, Lord, you know, I don't mind speaking, you know, alone. I mean, we doing it now. Right? But I feel like there's so much more of a rich conversation that happens when other folks are added to the conversation. So I'm gonna be honest with y'all, like, I prayed for a while. Like, I think that if the idea has been since 2016, I think maybe at least around 2020, I realized that I just wanted somebody else on here with me. I didn't know how it was gonna look, but I was just praying that, you know what I'm saying, that God would send someone who would just kind of like meet me, you know what I'm saying, match me. I talked to friends and things about it, and for whatever reason, things just didn't align. But, you know, glory to God that a friend of mine connected me with a friend of theirs who does similar work, and come to find out that this was a passion that she's had for herself as well, that she's had the vision. And that was so dope to hear, you know what I'm saying? Because along this journey, like, it seems like sometimes you can ask people for stuff, but like they don't have nothing like motivating them. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're the motivator. So it's really, really dope to be in a situation where both of you all motivate each other. And one of the dopest things that I love about Dr. Smith, Dot, as I refer to her when she hops on, is that I feel like our work so far just complements each other. I feel like, you know, the areas where I'm weak, she's strong, and vice versa, right? So it's really great to have that accountability and somebody right there with you that kind of pushes the vision forward. You know what I'm saying? And I think that that is necessary in any partnership, right? Whether it's a friendship, whether it's a marriage, whether it's a working relationship, right? Like, that level of accountability is so necessary for growth, right? In order to achieve, you need people that are gonna like be able to help balance you out. I smile when I say the word balance or suggest balance because, you know, people got lots of tattoos, but I only have one. I got it like right here. I don't know if y'all can see it. It's some Chinese letter. There you go. You can see it from that angle. And it means balance. And I got that tattoo when maybe, I think I was 19 when I got that tattoo. And it's just been so prophetic in my life, right? Like, in order for us to live rich, meaningful lives, healthy lives, we really need balance, right? Like, too much of anything is not good for us. So we have to be able to find that balance. And personally, I think a lot of it comes in self-discipline. It comes in self-discipline. Self-discipline truly is self-love, right? To be able to tell yourself no. And we live in a culture, right, where people say, you know, if it makes me feel good, if you feel good, it makes you happy, do it. And if it doesn't, don't. And that's not always helpful. That's not always what we need, right? Like, I could sit here and like to eat, I don't know, y'all, I'm a muncher. I could sit up, trail mix, stuff like that. I could sit up and just like graze on, right? But doing that in excess is not, too much of that is not good for me. As much as I may enjoy it, as much as it may make me happy, right? It's not something that I need to do. So I have to be able to balance that with stuff like the hard stuff, with challenges, with stuff that's not as easy. So yeah, we do have to have balance in life. Let's see, God knows who to align you with. You're right, Auntie. God definitely does. You say that, and like the tagline for my business, Journey with Jay, is accept what aligns and release what resists. Let's say it again. Accept what aligns and release what resists. We go through life trying to like make things be, right? Like, will ourselves into something. And while I do believe that a measure of effort, right, personal effort is necessary in life, right? Like, sometimes we can like work ourselves to death trying to make something be, hold something together that God, the universe, is trying to tear apart, because it's just not what we need. It doesn't work. And I mean, I work with people every day who have a concept of how life should be, who have an idea of how life should be, but the reality is something completely different. You know what I mean? The reality is something completely different. And you can continue to find dissatisfaction in what you don't have, or you can make big what you do have. You can focus on what you do have. God has given us so much day to day that we just overlook. Man, he has given us so very much. Like, we overlook good health. We overlook being in your right mind. We overlook clean air, clean water, right? Safety. To wake up your eyes and not be in war zone or your life threatened. Like, that is a gift. Like, that is peace of mind that can't nobody take away. We overlook those things and focus only on what we think we should have, how things should be. and it takes away, it rapes us. It rapes us of our joy in the present moment. And that is not God's will for our lives. That's what I've come to learn. Like, that is not God's will for our lives. So when to act in faith means like what God has, when he has it, if you are in alignment with him, it'll line up. It'll line up. It'll work. This podcast, met a friend. I mean, I've been even talking to the friends. Hey, Nakaya. I've been talking to friends about this concept, about this idea, and like, it's just kind of been flat. But, you know, like, when God says it's time, it's time. And it's going to work. And it's going to be what it's going to be. And you know what? We don't judge the outcome, because the outcome is actually the practice. This is what we want to do. Is just be here. So whether it's 6 people or 600 people, right? Like, God rejoices to see the work begin. I had mentioned that Bible verse to a friend of mine, Zechariah 4:6. It says, "Do not despise the day of small beginnings, for the Lord delights to see the work begin." Do not despise the day of small beginnings, for the Lord delights to see the work begin. We visualize an outcome. We visualize the goal, the big picture, and we think that everything that we do, we discount everything that we do in order to get there. But like, God he gets excited, baby, when you start making motion. Like, that's what's up. Like, you own it. Like, I'm really excited because like, he knows your potential. He knows what you have inside. He knows the passion that you got in your heart. He knows about that. He the one that placed it right there for you. He is responsible for that. So just for you to get started, just for you to take a step, man, God rejoices. Like, I think about like a kid when they first start walking, a child when they first start walking, like that first step, whether it's, and they might come down, they might plop down on their hands, they might come down on their knees, they may fall down all together, but like that first step is huge, because guess what? That was a step. That was a step. It was a step. It was a step. It was one more step that kid had than before. And you know what? The more steps you take, the better you get at it. I don't know how old y'all are on here, but however old you are, right? That's how many years of steps you've been taking. Right now, walking ain't nothing to you. God wants whatever your passion to be at this point where you walking in it. You hear me? Where you walking in it. But you got to start taking a step somewhere. You got to take the step. And the same way that, you know, you cheer on the kid when they first take that step, you want to build their confidence, God rejoices over you. He sure does. He rejoices over us. Like, that is so awesome to think about. We think about God as being like so angry and hard on us, but that is not the case. That is not the case. God rejoices over us. He is kind to us. For those of y'all who just hopping on, I appreciate y'all hopping on. Dr. Smith is running a little late. She'll be on soon, but you know, we just was talking, you know, just chat. I like conversation. Accept what aligns, release what resists. One thing about acceptance and releasing is that it has the same posture, right? Like open hands. You know what, God, what you want to bring for me, I have my hands open to receive. And when it's time to go, I let it fly away. It's the same posture. We try to hold on to stuff, right? And think about the energy that it takes to hold on. It's like a game of tug of war, right? And we just try and want to make something be, want to make something be, want to make something be. Sometimes our hands are scratched up and bloody, skin broken. It's a mess. It's a mess. And you know what? Sometimes the best thing you can do in situations is just to let it go. That's the healthiest thing for you, for the sake of your hands, of yourself. It's just to say, you know what? This is not working. It's not working. I'm just, whatever it's going to be, it's going to be. I'm not going to try and make it be, hold on tightly to make it be what I want it to be. I'm going to just let it do its own thing. That takes so much more of the pressure off of us. But also, that requires a lot of faith, right? Because what if what you're holding on to is like what you believe is best for you? And you done invested a lot of effort, a lot of energy, a lot of time into this, and it's not. That's scary as heck. That's super scary. Like, time, effort, energy. I remember when I got my undergrad degree in foreign language education, and I remember in 2015 I went through this situation where I didn't even know I was gonna be able to teach or not. You know what I'm saying? I had no clue. No clue. I didn't know what was gonna become of my license. And then here I had this whole license that I had spent 4.5 years working towards. The time that I put towards my degree, the classes that I took, the tests, the money that I spent, just all of that time had gone into this. And it just seemed like that was just, it was possibly gone, like about to leave me. And I didn't know what was gonna happen. But you know what? I remember in that situation, like, I just felt like I didn't have no fight in me. Some things are worth fighting over and some just aren't. And I said, you know what? I'ma just let it be. I'ma just let it be, because if this ain't where I'm supposed to be right now, God gonna do whatever. I was transitioning to a different period of my life. 2016, that's when I moved to Charlotte, and I was in a master's program. So, like, teaching wasn't even gonna be my focus. I had spent time in the public school classroom, and I knew I didn't want to stay there. So whatever, you know what I'm saying? My focus is elsewhere. I don't even have the capacity to keep up a license. You know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna just put it to the side and see what it's gonna be. And God said, you know what? I'm gonna show you other opportunities. Your mind thought that to teach you had to have this license, but I actually taught longer in Charlotte in a different capacity than I did back at home. So God wouldn't have given me, and that opportunity has just like propelled me forward in so many different ways. I was able to make so many connections, right? Like, I was able to become more of my authentic self, my true self, through the experience, right, that I didn't expect. Right, like, I knew I was gonna teach in Mississippi, and I was gonna be the best Spanish teacher out there. Then I was gonna get my master's and get my PhD, and I was gonna get on the board. Like, I had all this planned out. I had all of this planned out, and that's not what came out to be. And I think by releasing, right, that was when I was able to receive what was really for me. And I love my life now. Like, I could not have told you that 7 years ago. You know what I'm saying? 8 years ago. I could not have told you that, but now I can say, like, I am grateful that God has put me in a place where, like, I love me. I love the man that he has created me to be. Like, all of these experiences have shaped and molded me. And if I would have stayed connected to that, I wouldn't be me right now. So it's like self-appreciation too, right? Like, self-appreciation. I appreciate myself so much that I'm willing to accept what God has for me and release what's not. Because I'm going to stress myself out, and I might not grow into my full capacity holding on to something that ain't for me. What's up, y'all? What's up, y'all? I appreciate y'all who have hopped in. We just chopping it up. Dr. Smith, Dot, as I call her when she hops on. She got responsibilities. She got a couple more responsibilities than I have. So she got to make sure her responsibilities are good too before she hops on. So she running a little bit late, but she'll be on soon. Y'all know how it is. If you got kids, you know how it is. So everything don't go according to a fixed schedule, and that's okay. That's okay. You know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, God is where he is. He's always here. And he's going to make it be what it needs to be. All we got to do is sow the seed. He just asks us to show up. So we showing up. And I appreciate y'all for showing up with me. You know what I'm saying? What y'all got going on this evening? Let me ask a better question. Scratch that. What's some stuff that y'all would be interested in, like, hearing, like, conversing about? You know what I'm saying? I know, 3 of the big concepts is mental wellness, faith, and culture. But what are some things that y'all have found yourselves, like, curious about, that you would be interested in learning more about? Now, both of us are licensed a psychotherapist. And a psychotherapist is just like a mind therapist, right? Like a mental health therapist. She's a social worker and licensed clinical social worker, and I'm a licensed clinical mental health counselor. So definitely mental health, right? Like, what are some things about mental health that you guys have found or seen that you would be interested in us dialoguing about more? And let me say this too. I like to converse. So just because, y'all on here with me or us in a bit, you know what I'm saying? Like, please comment, be active. You know what I'm saying? Like, we like active participants. When you go to church, it's called call and response, right? Like, it's like where the preacher, the pastor says something and the people talk back to him. So when, in the black church, when I'm like, go ahead, pastor. That's call and response. He say something and they respond, right? Like, they let him know, you know what I'm saying, where, that they hear him. You know what I'm saying? It's a conversation. And so I anticipate this to be a conversation with you all as well. Like, please don't let this be one-sided. I'm definitely interested in y'all's perspectives. You're my angel. Some dreams come true. Overcoming self-doubt. Self-doubt. I feel that. Overcoming self-doubt. I'm gonna tell you something. To overcome self-doubt? Ooh, paradigms. What you mean when you say that, Nate? Tell me more. I'm curious. I have a working understanding of what paradigms is, but like right now, I'm curious about what you mean when you say that. Self-doubt. Let me tell you something. I think self-doubt starts in like just acceptance of no. How well can you accept no? Because doubt is always going to be there, right? Like, well, to some extent or another, it will, right? Like, uncertainty will for sure be there. We don't know how things will go. We don't know the future. You know what I'm saying? So who knows how things will go? I've been really wrestling with the phrase here lately that rejection is God's protection. So get curious about what that looks like. Whatever that goal is, get curious about different ways to achieve it. Don't just let it stop right there. Like, if you get a no, be willing to be flexible. You know what I'm saying? Be willing to get outside of your comfort zone. Be willing to, do something different. Do something that you hadn't thought of. Like, be willing to take risks. Because a lot of self-doubt, like, is part of being staying safe too, right? Like I don't know how this will go, so I won't put myself out there. And that's being afraid to take risks. That's being afraid of like pain, right? Of failure, right? But I read this quote one time and it was like, what if I fail? And then it was like, but what if you fly? So, like, it could go either way. And you walk away from a situation with so much more knowledge, even in failure, right, than you did by having done nothing. You see what I'm saying? Because at least now you got an idea. You got something to work with. Before, it was only ideas. It was just stuff that you might try and conceptualize. But after you've attempted, you can sit back and analyze the situation and say, okay, well, from what I had researched and studied, I thought it was going to go one way, but this happened and then that happened and the other happened. So based on all of this, right, like, how can I move forward? How can I still get to my goal? Like, if those things held me back, what are ways to work around those? And I think another part of overcoming self-doubt is really kind of looking back and giving yourself credit for what you have done or are doing, right? We highlight our failures, but we don't give that same attention to our successes. Like, we just breeze over them. No, you need to look at every little step that you took and every success that you had as well. And that didn't come just overnight either. Give yourself credit, even day to day. The little things, like, I'm gonna be real, it's been wintertime cold. Your boy been struggling. Do you hear me? Struggling to get up in the morning. I don't feel like moving. I don't feel like doing nothing. And my mind is telling me something wrong with me. That I'm lazy, blah, 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 blah. But truth be told, it's wintertime. We was made to rest. All the creation is resting except us. We still busy about our day like ain't nothing changed. Per usual. You know what I'm saying? Or if you don't give yourself grace, you get up and you do what needs to be done. That deserves credit. That deserves credit. Let's see. Paradigms aligns what fit. This applies to self-doubt as well. Align what fit. This applies to self-doubt as well. Yeah. You know, Coco, but I think what can be difficult with that is like, I think that there is a season where you are kind of like working out like discernment, I guess. Maybe that's the way to put it. If you don't know what you're good at, like a rough period where you kind of just trying stuff, you know what I'm saying? And you don't know if you're not putting forth enough effort or if it's just something that's not for you, you know, or at least not for you at this time. That's kind of difficult. You know what I'm saying? That takes a lot of trial and error to figure out. So depending on where you are on your own journey, right? Like there can be some difficult to discern, but if you kind of gain self-awareness and pay attention to like what makes you tick, I think that's a big part in like getting a life that's shaped for you, right? Figuring out things that are in alignment. You can always release. You know, releasing is an act of faith. And if it's something for you, trust me, it'll be there. It's going to stay in your heart. It's going to grow. More ideas will come. If that's what God has for you, he's going to give increase, right? Like, because he's going to make sure that his purposes are going to prevail. Like, he's going to make sure he's going to get his glory, right? So that means that he's constantly burdening you, you know, to be moving in a particular direction, to be acting in a particular way, right? To orient your life in a particular way. Like you hear some people and they just feel like, I got to start doing this. I need to start taking this more serious or that. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, whatever it is, for me, it was like a little health kick. Like, I don't know. When I turned 30, I was like 30. I was like, you know what? I need to take care of my body because I got to 30 fast and 40 is probably going to come even quicker. I don't like the way things are going right now. You know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna make sure I put some conscious effort towards that. Dr. Seuss, but what if you fly? You right. Soar, succeed over our rejections. What are we programmed to learn from childhood? Ooh, that becomes our reality. Oh, Nate, that's such a loaded topic. See, now I'm gonna tell you, that's one thing I love about you. Or when you're good at too much, editing, doing what makes you happy, what brings you joy. Yeah, that's definitely right, Coco. I'm going to just talk to that one first because, Nate, yours is so loaded, bro. But when you're good at too much, that was my issue too, Coco. Like, coming out of school, high school, I graduated number 8 in my class. Like, so most subjects I didn't struggle with. They were like, academically in that realm, I knew I could do anything I put my mind to. So how do you determine what you should do? Like, whether I could have gone into a field of engineer, and sometimes I probably like wish that I had, but I'm sorry, y'all. Sometimes I wish that I had, but God had me right where he wanted me to be. Just how he wanted it to be. For sure. Now, Coco, now you talking about doing what makes you happy and what brings you joy. Now we talking about people pleasing because, now, Nate, I can speak to that. What are we programmed to learn from childhood? I think people pleasing is one. I think people pleasing is definitely one. That's something that, like, I believe all children, well, I think we all are born with like some desire to comply, right? Like the figures in our lives, our parents, ideally, typically, our parents are so big, and we look to them for our needs. And they also give us a sense of belonging as well. That's the first people that we have some type of attachment to are our parents. So like to we want them to be happy. We want to please them. And so I think a lot of people pleasing goes into that. Like wanting to just be a good kid. Um yeah. I mean all kids rebel in some shape, form, or fashion, right? All kids do. But I believe it's innate to want to like do your best to shine in their eyes. And I think that kind of sets the tone for people pleasing because most parents may not be able to kind of even to give their kids like unconditional positive regard, um even when the emotions that the parent is experiencing aren't like pleasant ones, you know what I'm saying? Like, and it so like case in point, you know, when a kid does something that we appreciate, that we enjoy, like we celebrate it, right, with them. But oftentimes when they do something that frustrates us or something that displeases us for whatever reason, right, like we show how that feels to us, right? And sometimes it can feel like like rejection, like they pulling back their love, their acceptance of the kid based off of what the kid did. You know what I'm saying? Like they in some kind of way they withhold love broadly. They withhold love, and the kid feels that. So that means in order for me to be loved, in order for me to be loved, to receive love, I have to do what pleases people, and I can't do what displeases them because if I do that, then I won't be loved. That feeling of rejection is what they experience, and I think that just broadly, there's a whole lot more I could go into that with it, but I think that kind of generally sets the groundwork for people pleasing, to be honest. Um, so mature parents, like it is helpful and almost necessary that before a person has kids, that they have an emotional space to be able to not uh what is the word? You misuse maybe their emotions to like act out of intense emotion with their kid. You know what I'm saying? Like you don't have to be flat. And I do believe that it's helpful to communicate, disappointment in kids, right? Like because sometimes like they may not make you mad, but they just may disappoint you, right? And how that is handled is like I think that's a delicate way to handle that, right? Because you wanna I believe the best way to do that is to affirm the child, right? Like they did something that's out of their character and you speak to that, right? Like that is not the kind of person you are. You are a leader, not a follower. Why are you out there with them, following behind them when you know you were meant to lead? That's how you correct the child, right? You build them up in that way, as opposed to calling them dumb and putting them down because they probably are already thinking some of those things about themselves, right? We beat our own selves. Like we can beat ourselves up worse than anybody else, right? So it's very helpful for parents to be able to, in that, even in those times, like, yes, I'm disappointed. Yes, I'm hurt. Yes, like I'm sad, right? But at the same time, like that's not gonna stop my love with you, right? It doesn't mean I'm rejecting you. Like now, even if now, like there's some type of consequence that comes along with it, right? It's not using that consequence as like a punishment, so to speak. It's more so using that consequence in a way that builds that child, that grows that child. Like I see this is an area where you're lacking. And so you need reinforcement, you need support in that area so that you can grow. And so consequences when you give them to children should in some kind of way, right, speak to that characteristic that they're needing to build. If it's like thinking for themselves, being able to stand alone, right, and not like go along with the group, then I encourage parents to be creative and putting their kids in situations that motivate that, right, that push them to stand out, to lead instead of like being like following so easily. Um, so yeah, I think that's one of the biggest things. And I mean, just a lot of parents. I honestly would say the majority of people who are parents didn't ask to be parents. I don't believe that they Planned Parenthood. I think that they just kind of like found out, hey, we we're expecting, right? And kids come into the world and they make adjustments. But I actually don't believe that. I don't believe that the majority of them are planned. So I think that's why it impacts parenting. So when people be out here trying to give parenting advice, like, I'm a walk. Okay. I'm gonna tread lightly on that one because you getting parenting advice from people who aren't even emotionally mature. So I don't think advice you have to talk to somebody who is necessarily gone through what you have gone through, but I think that you need to talk to somebody that's mature in a particular in areas, right? Like that's the people that you want feeding, speaking into your life. You don't really want immature people because like how is that gonna profit you? Of what benefit is that? Y'all, Dr. Smith about to hop on in a second. She just let me know. I appreciate y'all for being on here with us, with me, solo dolo. Look at it, 38 minutes in. Okay. Lights for the same sake of you and me. Only way to go is up. Let's get it. But Nate, there's so much that goes into us at childhood. There's so much that impacts us, man. Like those years are they're so important. Like that's the foundation of who we are. It's so much of like they say that we experience childhood and that we experience adulthood is like attempts to correct our childhood, right? That's the goal of our adulthood is figure like trying to correct the mistakes or errors or things that weren't quite how we felt like they should be. That's how we spend adulthood. So there's so much I think that goes into it. But as a man who desires kids, I desire to be a parent one day. Um, I I have to accept that it's also like people are imperfect, right? Like nobody is gonna be 100% perfect. Nobody's gonna get it right. So like there's gonna always be something that kids are gonna feel like the parent didn't do as well as they would have liked for them to do it. And that's just part of life. Like it's inevitable. So yeah. What's up, Dot? Thanks for hopping on and say it's loaded. I wonder if I can lift this a little bit more. Feel me? Don't know to stay. Am I not thirsty enough? Okay, it might be a little bit better. Like so things. Okay. Only way to go is up. Oh man, I'm so tough. It say it's loading. Shoot, I see the comment. You and me could move a mountain. Did I not accept it? You and me can move on down. I don't know what's going on, y'all. This the part where in church they be like testing, 1, 2, 3. Pause, test. I don't know what's going on. You, you, you and me love drive. And I don't even know how to like not so that. Sure. Oh, what is going on in my video? Okay, I'm gonna remove you and then come back. Let's see if that fixes it. All right. I know this technology. It's technology. It's above me. You might have to hop off and start back. Come on, it should keep coming through. Except, I don't want to hop off. Turn request to go live. Okay, hold on. Turn comment. Oh, that's not what I wanted to do. Turn request to go live. Turn comment. Turn questions. So questions is on. Okay, I'm gonna see if accept now. Me neither. I'm sorry, y'all. We gonna get it together. View request. Let's see if I can hop on her. Y'all, she on live. Let me see if we can make that work. Uh-oh. Baby, my lover, my lady, won't you? All right, y'all. I might have to like go off and then come back on. Let's see if I can do that because I'm not sure what's going on. Just for me, babe. Tell me. All right, I'm gonna feel the same way because it just feels. I don't wanna waste no time. All right, y'all. I'm about to